It wasn't that long ago when Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard and everyone lost their minds. Who are they going to buy next? Are they going to buy Konami? Are they going to buy Bungie? What is Sony going to do? And it turns out Sony had plans of their own, or at least they had for a while, and that is why they bought Bungie today, makers of Destiny 2, for $3.6 billion. Now, no one is saying that this is in the league of Microsoft, who bought Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion, but I don't think that Sony is actually buying it for the reasons that a lot of people are expecting them for, because you see, one thing that they have clearly come out and said is that actually this isn't really about exclusives at all. No, we want Bungie for a different reason, and it's that reason that I find as the interesting part. But they were very open with the fact that they actually weren't going to do any exclusives at all. We will continue to drive one unified Bungie community. Our games will continue to be where our community is, wherever they choose to play. And in fact, PlayStation actually came back and they agreed with them in every way during this interview, where he said the first thing to say is unequivocally that Bungie will stay an independent multi-platform studio. Everybody wants the extremely large Destiny 2 community, whatever platform they're on, to be able to continue to enjoy their Destiny 2 experiences, and that approach will be the same for future Bungie releases. That is unequivocal, because while Microsoft came out and said similar things and have been talking about not actually having exclusives for a long time, there was still some weasel words in there. People weren't quite sure what they meant. They could probably have worked around it, and so that's why in this they made sure that everyone understood. Now, Xbox and Phil Spencer have said that they're not going to be doing exclusives for a while. They're actually looking at Xbox Gamepass moving into the PC space, and I think that's what Sony are looking to do as well. We know they're coming out with their own Game Pass version themselves on PC, but they don't really have the knowledge or the people to actually make that happen, and I think Bungie could be the first step along that path. Because, let's face it, no one's buying Bungie for Destiny 2. That's why Activision let them go, and that leads to probably the second factor in our decision process, which is Destiny is highly critically acclaimed, high-quality content, but it's just not meeting our financial expectations. Activision was never happy with how much money it was made, and so they didn't care if they actually left. But Bungie actually has a lot of other things behind it. They've actually been passed from pillar to post. They've worked on multi-platform stuff for a while with multi-platform matchmaking, while they've been on things like Activision Blizzard's Battle.net service. Then they've gone on Steam. So moving over to something like PlayStation service wouldn't be unusual at all. And if that came with some kind of monetary incentive to move the Destiny 2 population over, well, now Sony's suddenly got a built-in population that they didn't have before, and I do think that Sony is fighting an uphill battle with their Xbox Game Pass service, because while Microsoft has Windows, so they have a native home advantage, I wasn't interested in there. I wasn't interested going on either of these. Why? Because consoles have treated me as a PC player as a second-class citizen for years. Like, honestly, do you think I should be grateful if after 2 years you finally decide that I can buy your game and you give me the privilege of paying for it at full price after waiting all of that time? No thanks. If you can't be bothered to sell me your game on day one, then I just can't be bothered to play it. That's why I've never played any of these exclusives. I don't even like Epic doing that on their store, so how do you think I'm going to feel about an entirely different console doing it? And yet, I'm now subscribed to Xbox Game Pass. Why? Because the value is just too good to pass up, and it's been that way for a while. And Sony, if they actually want to match Xbox Game Pass, are going to have to come up with some kind of equal value proposition to get people over, because while a lot of people are like, yeah, okay, it's God of War, I really want to play God of War, and I'll just accept it even 2 years late, I think there's a lot of other people like me that are just like, oh, exclusives? I just don't care. I immediately just switch off. And Sony, if they want the PC market, is going to have to change. Because Sony has been on record talking about the increasing size of the PlayStation community, expanding beyond our historic console heartland, and this can take many forms. We are starting to go multi-platform. You've seen that. We have an aggressive roadmap with live services and the opportunity to work with and particularly learn from the brilliant and talented people from Bungie. That is going to be considerably accelerate the journey we find ourselves on. This isn't just a theory, this is Sony saying it themselves, and it's just the first step. No one bought Bungie for the money they were making. They bought it for the knowledge, the contacts, and the way of talking to PC users that they've learned over time, that Sony has literally zero experience with. It's not their strong point. All they've been doing is antagonizing them and treating them like second-class citizens for years. But if you just think of it from a numbers perspective, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to go on PC and get users from a brand new untapped audience than it is to try and claw people from Xbox who probably have loyalties over there, and even if they don't, you're going to get a few over and they're going to swap back and forth and that'll be it, when you're just leaving tens of millions of people that you've never accessed before on the table for no real reason and no real gain. That is why the tides are changing. That's why the attitudes are changing, and Bungie is the first step on that path. And I say first step because they make it very clear here. This had nothing to do with industry consolidation. This had everything to do with a shared vision and how we could do things better together. And that is why you can absolutely expect Sony to be making more acquisitions. You should absolutely expect more. We are by no means done. We'll be working with Bungie to make sure that the beds are downright and autonomy means autonomy. Elsewhere in the organization, we have many more moves to make. This isn't about Xbox. It's not about PlayStation. This is about moving into a new area, an untapped market that they've left for a ridiculous amount of time, as far as I can see, for no reason. This is an argument I've been making and thinking about for years, and I'm surprised it took them so long. But now they're doing it. Now they're buying the people that can actually help them get there on their path, and I'm very excited to see where this leads. Who else are they going to buy? What else are they thinking about doing? But one thing's for sure, if they want to make an Xbox Game Pass competitor, they've got a long way to go, and there are going to be some interesting stories along the way. But for now, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know down in the comments. But with that, if you liked the video, press like and subscribe. More videos in the future, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.